Now that we have covered how to navigate Equitus Text Analytics, let's create our first project and prepare it for data ingestion. To do this, we will start on the Projects page of Text Analytics, which is located using the navigation bar at the top. From the panel on the left-hand side of the Projects page, we see a list of projects already created in the system. Some projects may be grayed out based on your account's access levels. At the bottom of the list, you will find two options for adding a new project, either by creating one from scratch or importing an already existing one. For this tutorial, we will go ahead and create a new project. On this panel, we can type in the name of the project as well as pick a template. Let's go ahead and continue with the basic project template. Next, we can configure security for the project. From this window, we can decide which user accounts or security groups can have access to the project. When an administrator creates a user account in Text Analytics, that user can be added to a security group. Thus, whatever projects the security group has access to, the user has access to as well. Additionally, a user's access level can be configured to limit what the user can do within a given project. There are three main access level options. First, an investigator can access and modify documents within a project. However, they cannot access the network of the project or change any project setting. Second, an analyst can access the network of a project along with all of the documents, but cannot change the settings in a project. Third, a user with configure access can do all three, access and modify documents, networks, and settings for the project. These access levels can be configured at the user level and can even be modified at the project level. By clicking the shield next to a project, you can see the security already assigned or modify it further by clicking the Change Security button. From the opened window, we can further limit who has access to the project and what they have access to. Security settings can be applied throughout the project to specific collections and networks as well. For each project listed, you will see 4 buttons on the right-hand side under the Action column. These buttons can be used to rename, copy, export, or delete a given project. When copying or exporting a project, you will have the option of including just the project configuration or the configuration and the data associated with the project. On the far right of the Projects page, you can find the documentation for a given project. By default, each new project has a generic Text Analytics landing page generated. However, this page can be modified to include specifics for a given project and necessary documentation. Click the Edit button to place the panel in editor mode. From this mode, you can make changes by adding text content and tables as well as images and videos. When you are done editing, click the Save button at the top of the screen and then the Stop Editing button next to it. For this panel, you will also see the option to attach files as well as print the page or export as a Microsoft Word document. To continue setting up the project we have just created, it is important to create a collection for us to ingest our files into and a corresponding network in which we can then analyze those files. We can do both of these things from the Projects page or from the individual collections and networks pages that will be covered in a later video. For this tutorial, we will stay on this window and navigate to the middle panel where you will see a collection section and a network section. Click the Create a Collection button. In the opened window, we can select the ingestion configuration, name the collection, and assign security as previously discussed. It is important to select Default plus Network Update for our ingestion configuration. Doing this will ensure that changes made in our collection will also be reflected in the network. We will go ahead and name the collection Main for the purposes of this tutorial. Now that we have created our collection, click Create a Network. From this window, we will select the collection we want to create a network from. We can add a name if we want, or leave it blank to adopt the name of the collection. The rest of the settings we will leave the same. Now we have created a collection for our documents and a corresponding network. You will notice that the collection has a network icon associated with it, symbolizing that it has a linked network, and the network has a folder signaling that it belongs to a collection. To finish setting up our project, we will head over to the Configurations tab to enable a few important settings. From the Configurations page, open the Document Processing section. In the opened panel, click on Default to display the settings. On this page, we will enable a couple of settings that are disabled by default, but are important features that will help us analyze our data. The first is machine learning. Go ahead and click the checkbox to enable this setting. We will go over using the machine learning functionality more in depth in a later video. Second, we can scroll to the bottom of the page and enable sentiment analysis. This feature will recognize positive and negative sentiment terms in the text and relate those terms to people, organizations, and other defined entity types. After enabling these settings, click Save at the bottom of the screen. That concludes creating and setting up our first project. In the next video, we will start to ingest data into our newly created project.